Hey, everybody. Howdy, folks. Welcome to Wacky. Is it Wacky Wednesday? No, it's Spooky Wednesday. What's happening, everybody? My name's Mike from the Hole in the Wall Gang Camps Hospital Outreach Program. I am thrilled to have all of you folks here joining me today on Facebook. I just want to say really special thanks to everybody from our Facebook community who's tuning in right now. Like I said, I'm Mike. I'm from the Hospital Outreach Program. I'm from the New York, New Jersey team. So for those of you not familiar, we offer programming to hospitals and clinics in our neck of the woods. And we bring some of our favorite activities to children and their families in a hospital setting. So Today, though, again, on a Wednesday, we're really excited because we're bringing you some of it. One of my personal favorite activities that I love to do with kids. You know, the thing about Halloween for me, you dress up, you decorate, you get some candy. For me, it's a very creative time of year. I love to see all that creativity out there. So we're going to do one of my favorite creative activities and make some, together, we're going to make some Halloween greeting cards. Halloween themed, haunted themed, spooky themed, beautiful greeting cards that you can give out to your friends and families. So let's take a look. We're going to actually be using, I'll show you, we're actually going to be doing something similar to this using, here, let's take a look. This is using watercolors, crayons, markers. Here's another design. We're going to use a couple of different techniques. So let's go ahead and get started. Thanks again for tuning in. Ooh, let me check the chat. Looks like we've got Pendo, we've got Patty, we've got Dawn. Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for tuning in. Hopefully all of you are ready to get a little creative. As I get started, let me just ask if anybody is dressing up this year, and if not, love to hear more, since like I said, Halloween is all about creativity. Love to hear in the chat if you could share some of your most creative costumes you've done over the years. So for today's project, we're going to be using some watercolor paints. We're going to get to that. We're going to be using some crayons because we are going to try out a technique called wax resist, and we're going to use some markers. If we're doing a greeting card, what I like to do is take some watercolor paper and I fold it in half. And then the most important thing to do, actually I do this with any painting I'm going to do. Most important thing, something that I learned from one of my favorite artists and creative people that I work with here at camp, Kevin Rice. Most important thing is the masking tape. Because what you're going to want to do with your painting is tape it down to the table. Because what that does is it gives you a nice little border. And then, no matter what you paint, it's going to look like you bought it in a store. It's going to look professional. It's going to look beautiful. All right, so let's... Hey, Peg, welcome to the chat. We are getting a little bit creative, celebrating the Halloween season with some creative, spooky cards. So thanks for joining in, Peg. All right, so almost done with what I said is the most important. All right, in the chat, do we have any awesome Halloween costume to share? Shannon says she was a scarecrow yesterday. Good, we're already started a week early in the week. A few days before Halloween, we've already got those costumes going. Scarecrow's great. All right, I'm having some trouble, folks, tearing this tape, so it's okay. I'm just gonna connect the dots here with the tape as we go ahead and get started. All right. Steve Jobs. Jeremiah was Steve Jobs for Halloween. That must have been a cool costume. Okay, so like I said, the most important thing is to tape down your art. You tape it onto the table, you'll end up with a nice border. And like I said, with watercolors, it's wonderful because no matter what you paint, it's going to look like you bought it in a store because it's going to look like it's printed, and you're going to have a wonderful, wonderful, nice little printed look. It's going to look awesome. All right, so for this first spooky Halloween themed greeting card, we're going to start with something simple. We're going to do a pumpkin, and then we're going to get into more of a haunted picture for our second picture. So we're just going to do two today. And wow, as I get started, oh, we have one more Halloween costume here. Dawn was a bag of jelly beans. I can't. 2 years in a row. We're going to do a bag of jelly beans for the 3rd year. So, all right. So like I said, I'm going to get started with making a pumpkin. And what I'm going to be using is some crayons because I'm going to do a technique called wax resist. I know a lot of you folks who work with watercolors, do painting. It's a really fun way to make something really beautiful happen, because what you do is you just draw out something really fun like a pumpkin or letters or a message, and you can just kind of fill it in as much as you possibly can. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to make a pumpkin. Pumpkin's a little bit like reminds me of an apple until you add the lines. But yeah, I'm gonna make nice, healthy, round pumpkin shape. And while I work on my pumpkin, I do have a Halloween themed riddle, and we'll see if anybody can figure it out by the time I'm done with my pumpkin. All right, so here's how it goes. I have hundreds of ears, but I can't hear a thing. What am I? That's the riddle, folks. I have hundreds of ears, but I cannot hear a thing. What could it be? All right, so here's my pumpkin. It reminds me of an apple. Still reminds me of an apple. I think I got to give it some curves down here below, some curves on this side. And then I've got like a little bit of a darker orange. I'm gonna do some outlining. All right, there we go. Now we're cooking with the pumpkin. Okay. All right, so we have some guesses here for our riddle. We have Shannon says, is it a corn maze? Peg says, is it a cornfield? Dawn says, is it a cornfield? You're all correct. It is a cornfield. A cornfield is the correct answer. Y'all are good. I'm gonna have to think of a tougher riddle. All right, so we've got the general shape of our pumpkin. Let's work on the stem. And then a couple little spots of grass. This is the fun part with wax resist. You can do like little elements of your image. You know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna zoom in my picture a little bit here, just so you can see the drawing a little bit more. Uh-oh. It's getting out of control. There we go. A little bit better? Yes, we can see the drawing a little bit more. Okay, so we'll put in that. I always like to, also with some of these drawings, I mean, it's hard to, I don't want to take away from the pumpkin too much, but I'm going to add in a background tree here with crayon. Just add a little bit more to my picture. And it's not going to have, we'll put a few little leaves on it, but not too much, because this is like, it's deep fall is what we're going for with this. So maybe I'll put some yellow leaves and some red leaves. And you'll see, once we get into the painting part of it, it's going to go real fast. So we're actually over halfway done with this painting, even though we haven't painted a thing yet. All right, put a little bit more grass here, different blades. Oh, I do have another color green. Big technique. Uh-oh, what just happened? My face is covered. I got so into the art, I didn't notice. There we are. Hello, everyone. Welcome back. Okay, I'll take this as an excuse. I got really wrapped up in my creativity. I'll take this as an excuse to check out the chat. Audrey, let me know it was a corny joke. You're right, Audrey. It was very corny. Okay, here we are. All right, so one of the things I just learned last night and one of our wellness activities that Morgan helped set up for our team is you can use different color green for different blades, and it all blends together, or it makes it look more like green grass in different ways. So that's another technique you could take on. Now, yes, it's a pumpkin. Yes, it's a tree. Yes, there's some grass. Oh, and yes, I'm gonna add a couple more red leaves so it really looks like the fall, but we definitely want to make this a little bit spooky too. So spooky, I always try to add in nice yellow moon. I know it looks like a sun, but I'm gonna make it look like night, so maybe it'll look like a moon. And then, even though you won't see it yet, I'm gonna use white crayon to add a little bit of, uh-oh, this one just crumbled. I'm gonna use the white crayon. Let's see, come on. To add a little bit of haze in here. We'll see if this works. But I'm just doing a couple little spots where the paint won't stick, and we'll have some haze. So it'll be a hazy kind of sun. I mean, a hazy moon, hazy background. And then finally, to sort of really add some spookiness to anything, it's like to just add in a little bat. Yeah. This is kind of like a bat. I think it's a bat. Or it's a bird. I'm not sure. And it's just kind of like a V with a little extra. We got some bats. All right. So now, like I said, we're almost done with the painting. Let me check the chat. Hello, Morgan. No problem for the chat. Yeah, Morgan, incredible. We learned so much about painting. We're going to keep it going, though. Okay. So next riddle, as I start to get into the paint, this one is really tough. I don't even know how you're all going to get this one. Remove the seeds. Okay, it's not that hard. Remove the seeds. Carve a face. Your front doorstep is where it is placed. What am I? All right, so that's a tough one. That's a really tough one. Okay, so now we're going to get into the painting portion. All right, so this brush I've got, I know a lot of times when you get these watercolors, you get these the little tiny brush which has really loose fibers. What do you call these things on the end of a brush? Hairs. Kevin's in the chat. Kevin, what do you call the thing on the end of a brush? These things that I'm touching, I forget what they're called. I like to use a brush where the bristles are more stiff when I'm using watercolors. So that way I can really get a lot of pigment on my paintbrush, and it holds a lot of pigment because it's stiff, especially for this type of painting, which are called, which is the wax resist watercolor painting. All right, so I've got my brush, and I'm gonna do this real fast because for this kind of painting, when you want to have like a kind of a sky background, it's really helpful if the paint doesn't even dry. So I'm just gonna go real fast, and I'm gonna start with these blues and get a lot of paint on my brush and just fill in this whole background with a lot of this blue. And you can see all those spots where I left left the crayon on there. I've got some fun hazy spots, and then my tree, everything's popping out pretty nicely. I want this to get into the darks a little bit because it's a hazy, spooky night. So I'm gonna add some purples in with my blues. You know what, guys? I forgot one really important list things on my supply. Oh, saved by the leftover something I'd left on the floor earlier. Paper towel. Paper towel is really important for this. You can do some dabbing. And here we go. We've got I'm just doing some purples and some blues. For some reason, I feel like this might be enough in terms of color. I may add a little bit of red, but I really like the purples and the blues here. Oh, I just added a little bit of black for some reason. And this is the advice I'd give you as you're doing watercolor painting. Just go with it. Have some fun. I am going to add some red. And now we've got I like the edges a lot of times in my painting to be a little bit dark. And then maybe down below towards the horizon line, it's a little bit brighter. All right, there we go. Okay, so then we just have the grassy area, and I'm just gonna add some greens in here, maybe a little bit of brown. Get some more pigment on my brush. Get some browns. So it's a nice dark green. Because again, we're going for this spooky, spooky image. All right. Oop, added a little bit more green there. There we go. Okay, so let's check brush hairs, brush bristles. Thank you, Kevin. Let's go ahead and check the chat here as we let this dry a little bit. We have the right answer from Shannon O'Donnell. I am a jack-o'-lantern. You are correct. Remove the seeds, carve a face. Your front door is where it's placed. What am I? A jack-o'-lantern. Thanks, Shannon. Honorable mention goes to August, and especially Olivia. Thank you, Pendo. You got to the bristles a little bit earlier than Kevin, so I'll give you a prize as well. Good work. Good work. Okay, so we've got our first painting done. We're going to spend the next 10 minutes getting into one that's a little bit more spooky. And this, again, as I said, you see, because I taped it down, we have the big reveal. And you can see here, again, I shouted you out at the start, Kevin. The most important thing about doing these paintings is to tape it to the table, because then your greeting card really, hold on, let me try to get it. Sorry, I've got my camera upside down. Then I'm having trouble. Then here we go. If you tape it down, you have a nice border, and it looks like you bought it in a store. And again, this is a greeting card. This is something you're going to give as a gift to somebody, and it'll really make their day if you give them one of these handmade cards. I'm going to go ahead. Really important step with any of these handmade cards, so that they know you didn't buy it in a store, even though it looks like it, is you can sign your name. Don't forget to do that, folks. Really important. Okay, picture number 2. We're going to do something a little bit more spooky. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Audrey. And please, if you're making this at home, send in some pics of whatever you end up creating. We'd love to see it. Okay, anybody in the chat, what's the most important thing before we start this next picture? What is the most important thing? Does anyone remember? Thanks, Mariah. I'm struggling, folks. My masking tape is really hard to tear. So what's the most important thing? If you said masking tape, you are correct. It's masking tape. Painter's tape works really well too. Sometimes it doesn't tear your paint. Masking tape sometimes is a little sticky, so it can be helpful as you're doing masking tape to just kind of touch the ends of it a little bit, take some of the stickiness off, because it has been known to rip some paintings. So you should be really careful when peeling it up too. All right, but Peg, you were right. Anna, you were right. Patty, you were first. You were right. Tape it to the table. Most important step. You're gonna thank me later, because it's gonna look beautiful. Again, it looks beautiful no matter what you paint when you tape it to the table. I mean, it's likely to look beautiful no matter what you tape, even if you don't paint it to the table, because you're a great artist, and your creations are yours, and they come from you, and you should be super duper proud. Okay, here we go. So this next one, if you noticed, I taped it landscape. So this is going to be a greeting card that opens up like this. Okay, so I am going to use the Sharpie this time, because I'm going to make a haunted house picture. So this is really going to be my spooky picture. Haunted house, silhouetted kind of. And really, the cool thing about a haunted house, it's really just starts with a box of sorts. Yeah, so we've got a box. Oh, you know what, folks? I forgot. As I draw this, I'm gonna give you one more riddle. This place has hardly any lights. This is also super easy. I said I was gonna give you something hard. It's not. This is really hard. I'm just kidding. It's not easy. It's really hard. This place has hardly any lights, but a lot of creaking floors. There are all kinds of strange noises and some random slamming doors. What am I? Ooh. Okay, so again, this haunted house starts with a little bit of a box, and then you can add a little bit of a roof here, maybe a little chimney stack. Ordinarily, I would actually draw this a little bit smaller so that I have room for some smoke coming out of the chimney stack, but that's okay. You know, we're working with what we got. We only have a few minutes left before for the live show. So then you just want to fill in everything with your haunted house. You know, it's a little bit silhouetted, so that's why we're filling it in. It's also nice if you add like a porch. I feel like haunted houses always have like a porch. So maybe, and some steps. Yeah, there we go. Now it's starting to feel spooky. Anytime there's some steps, it's really dark. And then there's a porch. I'm always like, that's a haunted house. What are the other signs of a haunted house? I'm not sure. Okay. So we're just coloring it in. All right, there we go. And again, since it's silhouetted, I'm using a Sharpie. Sharpie works, especially a black Sharpie. If you're going to be going back over with watercolors like we did before, you don't really have to worry too much, because you can paint right over black Sharpie and you're not even going to notice it or see it. All right, love the roof. Spooky. All right, let's go back to the riddle because I finished it. The answer is, again, our top fan, Shannon O'Donnell, with Haunted House. You are correct. So is Olivia. Olivia, you both got the right answer. It is Haunted House. While I'm working on the rest of this, I do have a couple other questions to ask the chat. You know, Halloween's not just about creativity, like I said at the start. It's also about candy. Do we have any favorite candies anybody wants to share with the group? All right, so let's go ahead. This is our haunted house. We're going to add in some grass, just like we did before. We can do a few little patches. And again, I like to add different colors. All right, we've got patches of grass here, patches of grass there. We can, you know, with the haunted house, I really like to feature the moon. So let's go ahead and add this moon in. Nice big full moon. And with the moon really featured like this, it's kind of really fun if we really feature our bat as well going across the moon. Yeah. So the bat as well is silhouetted against this big yellow moon. Does anyone know we actually have a blue moon this month? Right on Halloween, we're going to have a blue moon. A blue moon, does anyone know what a blue moon is? Blue moon is when we have 2 full moons in the same month. So we're actually going to have a blue moon on October 31st. We're having a full moon on Halloween, and it's also not just a full moon, it's a blue moon. Pretty wild. All right, so we got some candy to point out here. Frozen Baby Ruth. I've never frozen a Baby Ruth. I have frozen Snickers. I have frozen the Hershey Kisses. Those are really good right out of the freezer. Audrey loves the peanut butter kisses. Peanut butter cups. Peanut butter kisses? I've never had the peanut butter kisses. So those are like Hershey Kisses with peanut butter in them? Wow, gotta try that. I think I might need to like peanut butter, which I don't actually like. But maybe soon. Okay, just realized what time it is. Let's go ahead and finish up this drawing. I'm gonna add in a spooky tree again. Any spooky haunted house picture greeting card that I want to do, I always end up adding a creepy old withered tree with Couple little leaves again. Not much. Maybe there's no leaves. Maybe it's just like 4 leaves. All right, and then we're gonna need some little bit of smoke coming out of the smokestack here of the chimney. I didn't leave a lot of room for it, but it's kind of fun. So if you are going to try a picture like this, maybe draw your haunted house a little bit smaller so you have room to use the white crayon to add in the smoke. Gonna again add like some haze. I'm gonna add a lot of it this time. Like maybe it's a cloudy night. So I'm just adding in some white going side to side. If you're trying to do sky or if you're trying to do clouds, most of the way the wind blows will across one end of the sky to the other. So usually I like for my strokes or anything that I'm drawing to draw side to side rather than up and down. And you'll notice that actually I meant to mention that earlier when I was painting. You'll notice any of your strokes, if they go side to side, they feel more natural in something that when it comes to painting or drawing in the sky. So that's why as I'm drawing these clouds, I'm just going side to side rather than up and down, because you never really see wind go up and down. Wind goes side to side. All right. There we go. Anything else we should add? Oh, I know what we should add. A little pumpkin. And if anybody has any final ideas for what I can draw in here for the last 2 minutes before we paint in, let me know now. Ooh, peanut butter kissies. We have a link from Audrey. I hope she gets a sponsorship plug from that. All right, I'm adding a pumpkin. Morgan likes to take 5 bars, and I love take 5 bars. I haven't had them forever, and Olivia loves Kit Kat. I love Kit Kat. I love the chocolate. All right, here we go. We are ready to do the painting now. I'm gonna try a different brush just to see how it ends up. These bristles are a little looser. Can you see it? A little looser, a little softer. So it's a little softer than the last one. And we'll see how it comes out. Anything else I should add? Oh, a black cat. Thank you, Dawn. Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna try this. Should I use crayon? Yeah, I'm gonna use crayon. Black cat, great idea. This cat's huge. It's already huge. Oh my gosh. Compared to the house, maybe it's a miniature house. Or maybe the cat's closer to the camera. That's it. All right, there's my cat. Yeah, the cat's like the size of a... Because I pictured this as like a 3-story house, so that cat is like the size of a horse. That's fine. Okay, here we go. Ooh, a ghost. Oh, especially with Wax Resist. We'll see how the ghost is a great idea. Thanks, Olivia. And Peg, great idea, because I'll just put it over here. Where would I put this ghost? I'm gonna put the ghost up here. Well, no, I already did clouds there. Sorry, wasn't on the mic. I'm gonna put the ghost, like maybe the ghost is standing on the front porch. So I'm gonna just do the head, and this is great because you can't see the ghost. It's really hard to draw something in white, so I don't really know what I'm drawing. So we'll see how this comes out. And then when I do the Wax Resist, the ghost will still be there. This is great. And then this is really, like we said, it's a haunted painting. All right, here we go. Thanks, Olivia. Here we go. All right, we're gonna start again with some blue. I'm just doing the same thing again. Starting with some blue. Going across. Ooh, this is really blue. This brush is a little different than the last one. Blue. Look at that ghost. The ghost is right there on the porch. Whoa, this is amazing. I'm really into it. It's really cloudy up top. We've got the smokestack there as well. All right, now let's just add a little bit of colors in here. And the cool thing about having that blue be still wet is I actually don't have to go all the way across with the purple. I can just drop in some purple and it starts to blend in with the blue because it just starts to get absorbed because we have kind of that wet blue in there. Oop, just messed up what I did, but that's okay. Yeah, so we'll just drop some purple into these wet spots here and just see how it blends in. Also want to add in, again, a little bit of black up top here, just so it's a darker night. All right. There we go. And then I'm gonna, actually this time I'm not even gonna do any green for the grass. I'm gonna try starting with the brown and seeing how that looks. Because we already have that green in there with the green crayon, but I'm just gonna see how I like it with this brown. Brown is, all right, I am gonna add a little green after all, just to, I start with the brown, add the green, see what happens. This time, got a little wet. Let me soak up. There we go. That's the brown I was looking for. The tree, the house though does look like it's floating. That's the only thing. So what I'm gonna do, yeah, that still works for me. Add a little bit more green. Now this, you can add some texture. I know for the sky I was going side to side, but I realized for the ground I can try to change up the texture rather than going side to side. Just add in a few more ideas. Okay, and I think we've got it. Oh, Olivia, that was a great idea with the zombie. Really cool idea. All right, so let's see what we have here. And this will be, again, like I said, our final creation. You know, the paint's a little wet, so if you're doing this at home, I would suggest waiting until it's mostly dry before you peel it off, but I couldn't wait. I was so impatient because I really wanted to see what it turned out like. All right, there we have it. We have our, this way, this way, this way, this way, down, down, up, over. We have our haunted house. Haunted house, there it is. And the really cool thing about these kinds of greeting cards, again, really fun to give to your friends, give them to your family. I've got a few different ones that I've done over the years, which I'll show you real quick. We make really good holiday cards. You know, this is wax resist using just the white crayons. Cards for any occasion. You draw in with the crayon, the lettering you want to do, and then add the watercolor on top. Same idea. Make wonderful thank you cards. Just everyday cards. I heart you. Happy Valentine's Day. And then my favorite, just a fun blank image using marker, a little bit of watercolor. So that is that for our Spooky Wednesday with our haunted watercolor greeting cards. We created some fun stuff. Let me show you one more time. Created some fun stuff. We've got our pumpkin and our haunted house. Thank you all for tuning in. Thank you again for being a part of the Facebook community and just supporting Hole in the Wall Gang Camp in so many different ways. I know so many of you have been involved in the community, been a part of camp for years and years, and we really appreciate it. And I really appreciate the opportunity to thank all of you and join in. So, and share a little bit of what we do in the hospital space and at camp when we work with kids. So thank you for helping make that possible in all the different ways each of you help contribute to camp. And we'll see you next time. Have a good one. Take care.